I moved out when my parents asked me to pay rent. I was 17, working part-time at Target, and honestly thought I was being pretty responsible. I'd save most of my checks, help with groceries sometimes, and wasn't getting into trouble like my friends who were constantly grounded. So when my mom sat me down at the kitchen table with her laptop open to some rental website, I figured she was just showing me apartments for when I turned 18. Instead, she slid a piece of paper across the table with $400 monthly rent, utilities included, written in her neat handwriting. Starting next month, she said, not even looking up from her screen, "You're working now, so you need to contribute." I stared at the paper, completely confused. $400 was basically my entire paycheck. "Mom, what is this?" "You're almost an adult, Chloe. Time to learn responsibility." Here's the thing. My older brother Ryan had lived with us until he was 22, rent-free. He'd blown through 3 different jobs, crashed my dad's car twice, and once brought home a girl who stole my mom's jewelry. But somehow, I was the one who needed to learn responsibility. I tried explaining that I was saving for college, that $400 would wipe out everything I'd worked for. My mom just shrugged and said life wasn't fair, and maybe I should have thought about that before choosing such an expensive school. The expensive school was the state university an hour away, the cheapest option we'd found. That night, I called my grandmother on my dad's side. Grandma Jean had always been cool with me, the type who'd slip me $20 and tell me not to tell my parents. When I explained what happened, she went quiet for a long time. "How much money do you have saved?" she finally asked. "About $1,500. Pack your things. You're coming to stay with me." My parents didn't even try to stop me when I loaded my stuff into Grandma Jean's car the next weekend. My mom actually seemed relieved, like I'd been some huge burden she was finally free of. My dad helped carry my boxes, but didn't say much beyond, "Call if you need anything." Living with Grandma Jean was amazing. She had this tiny house with a garden out back and shelves full of books I'd never seen before. She refused to let me pay rent, but I insisted on helping with groceries and doing yard work. For the first time in months, I felt like I could actually breathe. But here's where it gets interesting. About 2 months after I moved out, Ryan lost his job again. Apparently, he'd been fired for showing up high, which wasn't exactly surprising. My parents immediately started pressuring him to find work, and when he didn't after a few weeks, they gave him the same deal they'd offered me, $400 a month, utilities included. Ryan laughed in their faces and moved in with his girlfriend instead. Suddenly, my mom was calling me every few days. How was I doing? Did I need anything? Maybe I wanted to come home for dinner Sunday. I was polite but kept the conversations short. I had homework to focus on, and honestly, I was happy where I was. The real kicker came when I graduated high school. I'd managed to get a partial scholarship to that expensive state school. Plus, I'd saved enough working part-time at a bookstore near Grandma Jean's house to cover most of my first year. My parents showed up to graduation with this huge card and a check inside. I opened it thinking maybe they'd give me $100 or something as a graduation gift. The check was for $400. "We saved all the rent money you would have paid," my mom said, like she'd done me some huge favor, "for your college fund." I looked at that check and started laughing. I couldn't help it. $400 total, when they'd wanted $400 every single month. They'd literally saved money for 2 months before I graduated. "Thanks," I said, and put the check in my purse. I never deposited it.